The Rona Tranby Trust Australian Light Horse Project supports recording the stories of Indigenous World War I soldiers of the famous Australian light horse as told by their descendants. 13 descendants were selected to take part in this project.
My grandfather served in the 11th Light Horse Regiment. It's an Australian story, but it's about Indigenous people. And I think that has wide appeal, not just for Aboriginal people, because they're great stories.
Ancestors of 2 of the 13 descendants rode in the legendary charge of the 4th Australian Light Horse Brigade. The charge, on 31st of October 1917, was at the end of the day of fierce fighting and broke through the Turkish lines, capturing the key town of Beersheba. This was a turning point in the war, forcing the Turkish army into full retreat and leading to ultimate victory a year later. The Australian Light Horse Project funded the participants to travel to Beersheba in Israel to take part in the Australian National Service on the 31st of October 2017. For the first time in 100 years, a wreath was laid by an Indigenous soldier and representative in honour of Indigenous servicemen who fought in the campaign. It was a highlight when the announcement of the wreath was made and the Indigenous descendants and their supporters rose up as one in the stands and cheered. Inspiringly, after 3 days riding in the desert, 3 of the participants rode in the Centenary Parade through the town of Beersheba and then took part in the reenactment of the charge that followed the official service. Another of the participants was the first in his family to visit the grave of his great-uncle at the Beersheba War Cemetery.
I felt very honoured and privileged, mainly for the sake of his mother who never got the opportunity to visit his grave.
Today is the 11th of November 2018. The participants have gathered here at Tranby to take part in a Centenary Remembrance Day ceremony and to mount an exhibition telling the stories of their ancestors and their participation in the project. I was searching for my grandfather, trying to find him and connect with him in some way. And there was a moment when I was on a horse riding through the streets of Beersheba, and the people of that town came out and started thanking all of the light horse for what they had achieved 100 years ago. And I said to my grandfather then and there, I said, "Grandfather, there's thanking you."
I was able to see the landscapes that they experienced and thinking about some of the stories from their time there. It gave me an opportunity to just connect with them in a way that I wasn't able to previously.
And to see the hardship, they had to ride through the valleys of death, getting fired upon by the Turks and the Arabs that were there, the heat, the flies, lack of water, lack of sleep, but persevering. And that's what a lot of our servicemen of that era, the bravery for them to be able to do what they did. And so that's why I'm here today, and that's why I went to Israel.
Wandering around the market, I've been thinking that, what it must have been like for him, a totally foreign place for him to be. I sort of feel, that I'm somewhere that he was, and I think that's what's really important to me.
I'm glad that I went on the trip to see where my grandfather went. That was really experience to remember, because the people of Israel, they had the Indigenous soldiers in high regard, because they also helped re-establish Beersheba.
When this project first started in the early 1990s, I was speaking to Kevin Cook here at Tranby, an absolutely wonderful man, and he was so happy that we were doing this. And he said to me, "Now the kids will hear the stories." And that is what it's all about. The kids and their kids and their kids, they will be there forever because of this wonderful project.